Bob Skinstad, let's go to South Africa. We're all looking to this weekend. I mean, we'll be talking about it all week, building up to this, the first of two tests. It's just going to be excellent.
It's going to be brilliant. I can't wait. I mean, I think South Africa are. I read something this morning. One of the South African newspapers said they could have sold 260,000 tickets to the Cape Town test if they were able to fulfill all of the demand. So, as you can imagine, we're just as excited as you guys are.
So, just on what we've seen so far this season, obviously, the Springboks thrashing Australia, doing the same to Portugal. I go back to the Ireland series and think, okay, more of what we're going to see on the weekend, we can probably glean from those two tests. You agree?
Yeah, I think the bulk of it you could probably glean from those two tests. I think the Australian games and particularly the Portugal game were opportunities to blood sort of new, younger players into the squad environment. But I would imagine we're not going to stray too far from what's worked in the past. I think you guys have unpicked us a few times in the past, and we've been able to overpower. And it's a question of who brings out the better performance on the day. We've got amazing quality teams from both countries, and it's just whether South Africa can bring out the same kind of quality performance that they did in the World Cup, because they know they're up against their old foe, their greatest opponent, and despite being at home, everybody would hold huge respect for everything that New Zealand can do on the field.
Yeah, before we get into where the All Blacks are sitting at the moment, so what has impressed you the most so far about what you've seen from the Springboks? I'll just throw you a couple. The innovation has been not only. I don't think the word surprise is actually a good word to use, but it's just been something that we don't normally see from a Springbok side. But then Rassie Erasmus has this brain and he tries different things, and just seeing some of the especially the attacking plans against Australia, the attacking from deep, the line-out variations, just, different people being used in the back line, all that, and the combination of so many players. I think that's what has both impressed us and also freaked us out a little bit over here, going, wow, look at the potential and look at the depth in this squad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's impressed us as Springbok fans, and I would imagine rugby fans around the world would have enjoyed that. But at the same time, you got to say it's been building for a while. Erasmus he's a canny, wily individual. He defers a lot of the pressure off the team onto himself. So just to survive in that environment is good. But then when you see these innovations and the things that he do, I mean, I've got so much respect for what he's done as a coach and how he's been able to hold his line and deliver on what he wants to do for the team. That's positive. And then at the same time, he knows he needs to do it. This is not an unambitious man. He wants to do it for a long time, and he can't do it with the same playing personnel forever. So he has to blood young bucks. He's got to get some new players into new positions, and he's making a real effort to do that. And I think that's so evident to all of us. I mean, perhaps too evident in their loss in the final minutes against Ireland. The number one side in the world against number two is a big clash. I get that, but there were players on the field there who could have made better decisions, and Erasmus has said so. And I think, what he's trying to say is, I'm trying to show you guys we want to be able to have the best players making the best decisions at the right times.
Is that the way to beat the Springboks, the way that Ireland attacked and the way that Ireland played? Or do you think, as far as the All Blacks are concerned, we've got to stick to our own DNA and do what we do best?
Well, I think the All Blacks DNA is fantastic. I think it's a combination of physical rugby, running rugby, try-scoring rugby, but an absolute sort of front foot mentality, not a backward step. You do your lineouts well, you do your scrums well, you do anything to do with a set piece and controlling your own possession well. but then you're able to react as well. And I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to build on that. I mean, New Zealand are the most decorated side in terms of wins in the history of the game, and we see them as our greatest rival, and hopefully that's shared. But we don't want to stand on our laurels. We were lucky enough to have won the most recent World Cup. It doesn't make us any better than our last game. And I think Erasmus's position on that is, we need to work out what New Zealand are going to bring this weekend, and then we need to regather and work out what they're going to bring next weekend. And it's an ongoing saga. So I think New Zealand rugby, and you said, as a product, is in fine fettle. I think it's, I've got the utmost respect for the coaching staff, and we can go into that. But a good New Zealand team is good enough to beat the Springboks. We know that. That's where this beautiful sort of challenge comes now. Is it good enough to meet the Springboks at 50% or 60% or 70% or 80 or 100%, and vice versa? And that's why it's becoming so mouthwatering.
Bobby Skinstad is with us. Springbok between 97 and 07, 42 caps, captain in 12 of those tests, a member of the World Cup squad in 07 as well, winning World Championship squad. Yeah, just what do you like about where the All Blacks are headed then? I just want to touch base on that, because you said, you got a lot of admiration for what Scott Robertson as coach, this particular bunch of players.
Look, I do. I really do. I mean, I think you guys are incredibly talented with an amazing array of quality players. I also think you've got a number of high quality coaches in not only the attack area, but defense as well, scrum area. I think Scott Robertson is a fantastic appointment. I've made no bones over the years about my love for his rugby philosophy. I mean, we played against each other as Colts for our countries, and then had some games against each other as full internationals. And my relationship with him has never changed since the first beer that we had as 20-year-olds, and that is, rugby people, friendship. He's come out to Cape Town a few times. He's played in my tournament in Cape Town, in the Cape Town Tens. He's coached the juniors, and I've always thought to myself, that guy is going to be a great All Blacks coach, and I know he will. These days, everybody wants success yesterday, or yesterday morning if he started this afternoon. I don't think that's what the kind of pressure they should be putting on Razor and his team. I think what they should be saying is, where do we need to go to be the All Blacks that we know we can be? And I'm 100% certain that that's his focus. He's a great man manager and a good player manager, and the players who play in and around his coaching staff will be better players and better people, and that's good for rugby. So it makes me happy. I still want to beat him. I still want us to beat him. I still want us to beat you guys. I still want the rivalry to be as big and good and rough and intense and nuanced as it is. But I have the utmost respect for him.